proposed Alabama law would require residents to pass drug tests to get food stamps. What do you guys think of this? I want to make Congress take drug tests to get their salary instead. How about just to keep their jobs? Many don't need their salary. Edit. I just want to clarify something. I still think congressmen should get salaries, but if they want to pass laws drug testing people who often desperately need benefits, they should have to pass those same tests. But instead of losing some money, they should lose their jobs. Often, not always, congressmen are loaded with money, and losing a salary is just a slap on the wrist. Losing their job would be a far more fitting punishment, as it would be similar to someone losing their government benefits. I hope I cleared that up. I don't have an issue paying people to do a job. But how about linking their salary to showing up 5 days per week, 50 weeks a year, and staying at least 8 hours every day and actually trying to pass and amending laws to run the country. Edit. I agree with those saying congressmen should be in the home districts too. How about a time card they have to fill out every week? Punching in and out every time they start official work. 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, 8 hours a day. Madness. Who could possibly be expected to do that? Ick now, except vast swaths of the population they're earning more than it just consider it a minimum standard of work. I'm totally with you on this edit. Maybe not quite 50, 48 could do. They tried this in Florida, and in an amazing coincidence, the contract for the lab testing went to a company owned by a relative of the governor. They caught so few offenders that they spent way more in lab costs than they did saving money by denying benefits. It was Governor Rick Scott, whose company committed the largest scale Medicare fraud in history. Then he transferred it to his wife so there wouldn't be conflicts of interest. Then the people of Florida decided that he was such a good guy that they elected him senator. Rick Scott, whose company committed the largest scale Medicare fraud in history. Then he transferred it to his wife so there wouldn't be conflicts of interest. That's not how you avoid a conflict of interest. It's a great plan. You can't convict a husband and wife of the same crime. Take to the sea. Loose seal. He's gonna be alright, you saved his hand. Oh no, he lost his left hand, so he's going to be alright. They've already done this in I think it was Florida, and it turned out to be a giant waste of money. Corrupt ass Rick Scott got this put into action. Oh, and his wife was a 50% shareholder in the company used for the drug testing. I don't understand how this isn't illegal because those are the people that decide what's legal and what is not. Or, more specifically, decides where to put enough effort into prosecuting for crime. Ever wondered why corporations can be scamming millions in taxpayers' money, evading taxes, massive environmental damages such as oil spills, or throwing waste in rivers, whatever, and not really getting any consequences for it? But just try stealing one thing worth $10 from them. And what happens if they fail a drug test? Does the state help with drug problems or just take their food away? And what happens to the kids of parents who fail drugs tests? Does the state still give money to the kid? Edit. This is a rhetorical question intended to invoke thought. I know what happens with the food stamps/et for the kids, thanks. It's a damn shame. Edit 2. Thanks for the silver, somebody. Also, many of your heartless pricks. Edit 3. Why is everyone assuming that all those who would fail are these horrible addicts? Most are going to fail from basic weed usage. Nothing more than many working class, productive members of society are doing. They would starve. That's exactly why I've never agreed with this idea. The drug tests also cost the government far more than it saves by taking away food from the family of drug users. And in 2015, of 7 states reporting data, only one had a positive urinalysis rate that exceeds 1%. And nearly every scholarly article on the suspicionless drug testing of welfare recipients has concluded that this testing violates the 4th Amendment to the United States Constitution. I process food stamp applications. During training, the head of our department came in to speak with us, and he brought an article with him. It was an article about a young child starving to death in a major city and his face next to it. You may be joining us thinking you will be this cool guy finding people trying to scam the system and whatnot, but let me tell you. Preventing this is your #1 priority. We save lives first, that's your job. If someone is scamming the system, they will be found out eventually, and there's other people to handle that. I do not want my face next to an article of a child starving to death in my state ever again. It really put a new perspective on what I do, and how I see things like this. If you agree with the spirit of the law or not, it does not change the fact it will go against priority 1, my department, and will likely cost lives. What state are you working in, if you don't mind me asking? I rarely feel as though I'm saving any lives, but occasionally, it works out where I feel I get to help someone who truly needs it. It's a thankless job a lot of the time. When I was training at Headstead in California, the teachers had a hard time rationing food to the kids because they were so hungry. One teacher told me it was likely because the only meals they would eat were breakfast and lunch at school. The minimum allowance then for food stamps was $190 a month. I think you got more with children. But really, that's not enough in California for a family. My non-profit bike shop did summer lunches before we moved. We were in a very poor neighborhood and knew that the kids in the neighborhood were likely not eating every day when school was out. My school district offers meal programs in the summer for kids that don't have enough food at home. It's one incompetently run district, but it's a pretty good program. Every time this has been done somewhere, it has ended up costing more money for testing than it has saved by revoking assistance. Also, if the real intent was some moral cause, then anyone receiving government money should need to be tested, not just the poorest. That includes judges, police, state senators and representatives, etc. Funny how that part never happens. Also, if you think for 1 second that certain types of people aren't going to get some false positives on their tests, then you've got the wool over your eyes. Anyone receiving government money should need to be tested. Let's not forget anyone receiving EITC/CTC/ETC as a portion of their tax refunds. True. I wasn't actually proposing that they should do that. I was just trying to say that by following their logic, that's what they should do. We shouldn't follow their logic.